Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Carissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. There's this game we all play as kids that continues to come up in real life when we're adults. You know, the game where one person whispers something into someone's ear and the objective is for the message to be whispered from person to person until it gets back to the original person in all its contorted and misunderstood beauty. In my 20s, I was working in corporate la-la land, and there was this time when I picked up my voicemail messages, and in one of the messages, a woman I had worked with was sharing her discontent with me about something she had been told I had said. The undeniable thing about this scenario was that she didn't know what actually had been said, nor had she heard or received it with the intended meaning. What she repeated in her message about what she had been told was not what had been said and had been significantly taken out of context. You gotta love the telephone game when it happens in real life, right? Now, as a young adult, I was ill-equipped to handle the roller coaster of emotions that followed this voicemail scolding. I was flip-flopping between total disbelief that my words could be so misconstrued and defiance that I had been misunderstood. I spent hours upon hours going over the scenario in my head, losing sleep and ultimately questioning myself. If you've ever experienced a situation that results in you having swells of emotions that were almost too big to comprehend, this episode is for you because we are going to explore how to process emotions. This woman who left the voicemail was nice. I mean, nice. She was one of the first people to show me around and explain the ways of the office when I first started in the office where we met. I was beside myself knowing that she was misunderstanding what had been said and the sentiment behind it. She obviously didn't have any interest in hearing my explanation or apology because she didn't leave a number for me to call her back. And with no way to find closure through conversation, I was left with my emotions and having to process them on my own. It felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me, leaving me with a cacophony of emotions all swirled into one event. If you've found yourself overwhelmed by emotions, stuck in a cycle of overthinking, or unable to make sense of them, you are not alone. There are many reasons that influence why you struggle with processing emotions. First, there's social conditioning. Maybe you were told to be strong, just get over it, or don't cry when you were young, so you learned that expressing emotions was risky or a sign of weakness. This lack of support can make processing emotions incredibly difficult and even harder to feel safe. When emotions are considered something you're not supposed to show, you can feel exposed and open to judgment or rejection. This can lead you to have learned to keep your feelings locked away or engage in behaviors that allow you to feel numb, like overdrinking or overeating, in order to protect yourself from potential pain. There's also a lack of emotional education that you may have received. Aside from the be nice, sharing is caring, or keep your hands to yourself, there was a time where less emphasis was placed on emotional intelligence or emotional resilience. This may result in an inability to identify your feelings, let alone being adept at processing them effectively. And of course, there's always overthinking. When you're caught in a loop of overanalyzing the situation or second-guessing yourself, it can be difficult to identify your true emotions. Getting lost in the what-ifs and hypotheticals can cloud your ability to process what you're genuinely feeling in the present moment. There's this quote that I've heard over the years: hurt people hurt people. And while it isn't true in all circumstances, it does hold some merit. Listening to the voicemail, here was this woman who was rightfully upset because what she had been told, what she understood to have been said, yet I knew it was wrong. In her hurt, she wanted to ensure that I knew about it, so she lashed out. This in turn hurt me, right or wrong. And the fun thing is that I'm sure she felt that I had hurt her first, and therefore she would be justified in acting the way she did. When you leave emotions unprocessed, they don't just go away or resolve themselves. They linger beneath the surface, clouding your perception and influencing your thoughts and behaviors going forward. Unfinished and unresolved issues are a huge contributor to the levels of anxiety you feel. That sense of unease and tension that you carry around with you each and every day. You might find yourself prone to overthink every situation, worry about the future, or fear the worst in situations, even when there's no indication that there's a reason to worry. And with all these issues and emotions on your mind, you'll experience a heightened sense of overwhelm. Left unchecked, you'll find yourself experiencing burnout, feeling depleted, and incapable of handling the daily challenges of life. Leaving emotions unprocessed can affect the relationships you have, possibly cutting you off and isolating yourself as a result. In my example, because I don't know who actually misrepresented my words to the woman, I found that I was very distrustful of people and speaking freely following the experience. Before I did the work to process my emotions, I was very distrustful of people and I avoided engaging authentically with them. And then finally, let's not forget that when you don't feel like you can be yourself, you're going to find yourself trapped in a cycle of negative feelings, each one perpetuating the loop of negative emotions. The more anxious you feel, the harder it becomes to process your emotion, which then increases your overwhelm, and so on. You can't outrun your emotions, no matter how hard you might try. Emotions are healthy. Being able to experience them is important to your overall well-being. One of the interesting things about emotions is the amount of time you spend ruminating over the emotion is what makes it last longer. So if you were to allow the experience of an emotion, they would come and go as part of the regular experience. It's that so much time is spent thinking about them, putting them into different contexts, exploring all the what-ifs, and the piling on more emotions on top. Then you end up with one big tangled mess of emotions with no clear place to start for unraveling them. Big emotions can be intimidating, so it's important to create a sense of safety within your body. The knowledge that emotions will pass, that you are safe within your body, that you are okay. When emotions are triggered by something that challenges your identity, the story you have about yourself, or about how a situation is supposed to go, These types of situations might result in a lot of rumination without actual processing of the emotions. The anxiety you experience can be a symptom of not wanting to feel the emotions. When you're all up in your head thinking about things, buzzing with real and false narratives, you can become dissociated from your body. This anxiety can be a good thing because it's an indicator that you need to go inward and deal with some of the emotions that you've been trying to avoid. In episode 4, we talked about body scans. This practice is really great for processing emotions. This allows you to become curious about how the emotion shows up in your body, where you might feel a tightness, an ache, a pain, tension, heat, or buzzing. As you observe how the emotion shows up in your body, you breathe as you allow it to pass. Be willing to feel all the feelings so you can get to the other side. It's really great when you learn that your emotions are temporary, that they don't last, and that you are and will be fine on the other side. And notice the thoughts that your brain offers up as you're experiencing the emotion. I like to get out my Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet and write them all down so that I can see them and then start to challenge the validity of the thoughts that have arisen. In the show notes, you will find a link to download the worksheet for free. From my telephone game experience, I had to learn how to be okay with someone being wrong about me. And I also had to learn how to process the emotions that came with finding the neutral space. It's about learning to process the emotions so they don't control your reactions or color your thoughts. This allows you to show up more authentically, more purposefully, and more intentionally in your life and relationships. If you're ready to dive deeper and learn how to process your emotions more effectively, I invite you to join the Crystal Self-Healer Members Portal. Inside, you'll find guided exercises, supportive community discussions, and additional tools like the Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet that help you feel empowered, supported, and in control. Click the links in the show notes to get started and take the first step toward overcoming your anxiety and overwhelm so you can embrace a more balanced and peaceful life. Aragonite star clusters is a great crystal to incorporate here with its ability to clear, cleanse, and balance all of your energy centers. I'm just going to refer to it as aragonite from here out. When you're caught in the whirlwind of emotions or anxiety, aragonite provides a stabilizing energy that helps you feel centered and more secure so you can start to process your emotions more calmly and effectively. Aragonite can facilitate soothing emotional turbulence, lessening the peaks and valleys of the emotions you're feeling so you can experience more clarity and perspective. With its star cluster shape, aragonite emits energy in all directions, much like a net. This can help to ease tension in your mind and body, reducing the physical and emotional symptoms of stress and anxiety. Aragonite also helps you accept your feelings without judgment, helping you find self-compassion and understanding so you can process your emotions in a healthier, more constructive way. Today's episode has been brought to you by Aragonite Star Clusters and Childhood Games. May we all process our hurts and wounds, finding peace and clarity so we can transcend and evolve into the energy of love. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.